Alright guys, Summer Del Piso back once again with yet another video. Today we're going to talk about bloodlines, right? We're going to talk about semen retention. We're going to talk about clearing the darkness, the goo, the uncleanliness from our bloodlines. I want to first off start off the video by praising all of you. I love each and every single one of you guys. You're on semen retention. You're following the precepts of God. You're in this time of spiritual isolation, deep chastening from God. I want to give you guys deep praise and admiration and love because you are following the precepts of God. You're on semen retention. You're trying to rise. You're trying to ascend. You're keeping that light in you, and you're going through this period of deep chastening from the world. Like a lot of us been saying in the comment section, the ones that's been on semen retention for long periods of time, 4 months, 5 months. Remember, there's that enmity between you and the world. The understanding between you and the world are no more. You understand them, they understand not you. They understand not your ways. They don't want to understand you. They do not want to walk with you. They do not believe in you. They are not your friends. They're not your family anymore. And so on this journey, you must keep going forward. You cannot look back at the things that have passed, the world that has passed away for you, but rather the world to come. You must have deep, unwavering, very strong, fortified faith in the things for you to come. For you have no idea, none of us have any idea what kind of rewards are going to be brought about from this chastening. I'm going to have a lot to talk about in this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I love you all, guys. Let's get right into it, right? You need to understand, first of all, before we get into bloodlines, we need to understand how this world has been run for the majority of its time here. All cultures, all creeds, all societies, all religions, all countries. The rulers of the governments, right? The people that work as leaders for these various countries have all sought to manipulate the populace, keeping them in shrouds of ignorance in order to excavate resources from them to constantly exalt themselves over each other. This is just a product of being in the world. They all seek to exploit. You have to understand also that a lot of the businesses that exist now all over the world are due to individuals that learn how to exploit finance. They learn how to exploit people's lack of information, and they take things from them. They try to excavate wealth from individuals that are ignorant of their own power, of their own financial might, in order to get themselves cars, in order to get themselves big houses, to exalt themselves over others. And they call themselves learned, they call themselves smart, they call themselves philosophical, they call themselves moral, which is a complete blaspheme against anyone that knows anything about objective good. What they've done is that they've gotten rich off of exploitation of the ignorant. That's it. What they've done is that they've obfuscated real information to enlighten individuals in order to continuously keep them in a state of control and subservience. Now let us get into the talk of semen retention and what that is actually doing, in addition to the obvious. The obvious, you're getting extra physical energy. You're becoming much more shrewd, right? Becoming much more astute. You're becoming a little erudite. An erudite is like a scholar of sorts. You're becoming much more spiritually in tune. You're making more connections with God. You're developing an intimate relationship with God. You're reading His precepts. You're reading the books of the Bhagavad Gita. You're reading books about Shiva. You're reading the Dhammapada. You're reading all of this information and you're incorporating it. And what you're doing is you're clearing your family's karmic debt. Your family, the people of your past, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, have all followed the way of the adversary, right? The evil adversary, the Satan that has been controlling the elites that I've been mentioning earlier. What they're interested in is keeping individuals subservient so they never actually understand the might, the spiritual might that they have, and the connection and the powers of the covenant that God has made with us all, that Jesus has made with us all, right? This is what they're preventing us from understanding. Your parents may talk about Jesus Christ. They may have the crosses in their house. They may have the picture of Jesus on their wall. But at the end of the day, they're taking on to fornication. They're taking on to drugs. They're taking on to the things of the world, to enervate the system, to constantly be in a state of constant stimulation in order to avoid the way of God, which is ups and downs, negatives and positives, right? Ebbs and flows. And so when you are taken onto this journey of semen retention and you're doing the aforementioned thing, following the ways of God, trying to incorporate goodness in your life, light in your life, right? You're accepting the consequences of your actions and you're you're fulfilling the punishments thereof. You're doing the penance much more aptly, and you're trying to clear your karmic debt. You're trying to become a better person. You are becoming a much more powerful person than all of the old, the progenitors of the past, the ones, the elites, the governments, the ones that seek, like I said, that sought to keep us in a state of ignorance, to have us worship foreign gods in order to separate us from our power, to make invocations onto demons, to do the evil work of energy harvesting of the children, of the individuals that are ignorant of that light in them, that are building their light through following the precepts. You are separating yourself from all of it. And not only that, you're clearing your bloodline. You're doing the work for generations upon generations of your bloodline. And if, and only if, you are called by God to marry and to reproduce, you are now bringing a child into this world that is clear of karmic debt, of clear of sin, blotless, right? Of course, he will sin. He will be taken on, perhaps he will be taken on the fornication. Perhaps he will do the drinking, the smoking, the doing drugs, right? The exploitation. But he will be less inclined to do so because you have done the work for him. You have created a good son, and of course, a good son or a good daughter. And of course, what you are going to do is you're going to chasten them. Remember, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child, as it was said in Psalms by the Almighty David. And so you will chasten your children to make sure that they do not go left, they do not go right. You will give them the word of God, and so they will ruminate it upon during the day, during the night, and they will follow it. You need to clear the blotches and the darkness of your bloodlines. Your parents were not able to do so because they didn't want to do the work. Their parents convinced them of how to be successful in the world. You need to worship the God of materialism through going through college, through going through university, through exploitation, and through any way possible, through any sort of means, all unscrupulous means. That is how your parents were taught, and so they taught you indirectly and directly how to do the same. They taught you, remember, if you need to de-stress, you need to smoke, you need to do drugs, you need to be stimulated. They did not tell you how to develop an intimate relationship with God. They did not tell you how to fortify yourself through the precepts of God, through the holding down of the sexual urge, the controlling and the reining in of the lustful dragon, the mother harlot of our adversarial nervous systems. They did not teach you how to do that because they did not seek to do that. Your fathers were taken in they followed their God, was not only the God of materialism, but the dragon of the mother harlot, right? Which was fulfilling lust. You need to experience sexual pleasure as often and as much as possible before you get married, because when you get married, in a physical marriage here, which was never even written about in the Bible at all, by the way, somehow your whole karmic debt is cleared. All of the fornication that you've done, the day that you get married, it's all cleared somehow, right? This is what your parents teach you. This is what your father teaches you. Your father has the wonderful watches, the rings, the chains, the tattoos, right, of God, of Jesus Christ. And they are heathen. And they teach you heathen works. You must intimidate the weak. You must exploit the weak. You must take advantage of the weak. That's the masculinity that built this world, that created the systems for the dragon of Mother Harlot and the adversary to thrive. What is real fatherhood? What is real motherhood, right? Standing right next to your child and making sure that they follow the precepts of God and they become a good person. They give without seeking reward, without seeking recompense. They build up their spiritual energy inside. They are chaste. They do not partake in fornication. They love and sleep with only the person that is their match. Our forefathers have not taught us this. And so it is up to us men on semen retention, to clear the sins and the blotches, the dirtiness, the uncleanliness of the heathen of our progenitors. They did not know anything. They are very learned, these people. They write very, very powerful peer review, very informative peer review, peer-backed studies about various works, the interaction between forces in this world. They're very good at speaking. They're very good at accumulating wealth. They're very good at trying to subjugate and intimidate others, but they know nothing about the way of God. They know nothing about the subjugation of the flesh. They know nothing of it, gentlemen. It is up to us. We must now receive the chastening, the sins, the consequences of everything that has been committed in the past for their sake and for our sake and for our children's sake, our progeny's sake. We must, remember, when we are being chastened, when we are alone on Friday, eating at a restaurant on your own, right? Because it's your day off from work, or not your day off. You have time off from work, and you want to enjoy your time off by yourself. And you see the people of the world partaking in the weed. They're smoking. They're smoking the cigarettes. They need their alcohol breaks. They need their drugs. And you're by yourself, and you're not being spoken to. You're not being interacted with. You're being ignored. You're being aggressively jostled. All that kind of stuff. Understand that all of this consequence, all of this punishment is for the greater good. It's for a world that you have no clue of what you're designing and building. No clue. What you are doing is you're creating a very, very powerful new world for the generations to come. The generation of men and women that will interact with each other not on fear-based anxieties or drug-riddled elation or a love for the flesh or love for fornication. That's not going to be the driving force between souls in the ways of the world to come. In that world to come, it's going to be interaction of love, of understanding, of uplifting, of enlightenment, of benevolence, of altruism, of complete adoration for the things of God and the emanations of Him thereof. We need to suffer now. We need to go through the chastening now. The semen retention enlightenment that you've been given by God. You didn't just fall onto semen retention, gentlemen. You didn't just fall into the practice. Someone didn't just give you the practice. It came about because you are the one that's chosen to eradicate the uncleanliness of your bloodline through your penance of taking on the mantle of semen retention. You will be grabbed by God to go through the consequences of your bloodline, of their progenitors, the sins of exploitation, of ignorance, of complete intimidation, of fornication, all of it. You are taking on all of the penalties and consequences, and you're forging a new path for the world to come. The generation to come. When you get out of your houses, when you wake up, when you get up out of your beds every single morning to go to your line of work, to go to university to study, to do whatever it is that you do to perpetuate your sustenance here on this planet Earth, you will get up, you will journal your sadness, you will journal your sorrow, you will cry and mourn if you have to. But when you leave that door, you'll be proud leaving and walking amongst the people of the world, the people that don't understand exactly what it is that you're doing yet, and they don't need to, but you understand. You're walking with that confidence that you are a representative of God. You've been chosen to go through the chastening and the high temperature flame of eradication of sin that's created from your bloodline in order to create the new world. You need to understand exactly what it is that you're doing. You need to walk forward with confidence. You will mourn in private. You will mourn in the confines of your bedroom. You will be sad on your own. You will share none of your anything that's going on with you. You will share none of it with the people of the world. It is the punishment and the penance that you have been chosen to take. It's the chastening ultimately. It is the guidance, it is the crafting of your soul. The allergy, the soul allergy of your life force, donned by God. Be proud of where you are and what you are doing for the rest of your bloodline and inevitably for the rest of the world. I love you all, guys. I hope you enjoyed that kind of content. And if you did, please like, please comment, please subscribe. If you didn't, that's fine. You don't need to do any of the aforementioned 3. Don't ever let this world get you down. You will not receive any credit. You will not receive a pat on the back, a pat on the head, or a slushie for what you are doing. What you are doing now through semen retention is you are clearing, you're doing metaphysical, religious, spiritual work that your parents could not do. They were too weak to do it. Your forefathers, they were too weak to do it. What they did instead right? Instead of going through the toiling process, which is following the ways of God, is that they were taken on to secret societies. They made covenants with dark forces. They make dark oaths with demons, Belial, Pazuzu, Payment, right? Asmodeus, right? In order for power, for wealth. They smoke the cigarettes, they smoke the weed, they done the drugs, they drink the alcohol to be constantly stimulated so they could forget and evade God's way, which is ups and downs, positive and negatives. That's what they've done. You are not doing that. You're going straight into the everlasting fire that crafts souls. This is the reason why you were here. The same journey Enoch went through, the same journey that all of the prophets, the apostles went through to be able to have the seal. You are going through it right now. And you're doing it for your kin. You're doing it for your progeny. You're doing it for the generations to come and the world to come, to arrive. Be not afraid, be not dismayed. You will be sad. The people of the world will gaslight you and make you feel small, but you have to remember that if you are receiving that, if you're receiving that action, know that you have been chosen, you have been grabbed by God. It is your time to clear the negativity from your bloodline, the dirt and the gunk from your bloodline caused by your progenitors, because they refuse to adhere to the words of God, but rather adhered to the words of the adversary, the God of the material world. I love you all, guys. Stay radiant. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Woo!